Is using the cloud safe? Hi everyone, Leo Notenboom here for askleo.com. One of the comments I received on an article, Lessons Learned from a Fairly Public Online Hacking, was a very concise, "That's why the cloud is dangerous." I think a lot of people feel that way to varying degrees. I strongly disagree. Using the cloud can absolutely be safe. I also think that believing the cloud is dangerous prevents you from taking advantage of many of the things that it can do for you. Things like protecting your data. It also ignores the fact that you're already doing things in the cloud safely and have been for years. The so-called cloud is new in name only. We've all been using online services for decades. They're no more dangerous now than they were then, and likely less so. The only new thing is the number of services available. If we take responsibility for our own security, using the cloud, also known as online services, can be safe and enrich our lives along the way. Now, I have to start by throwing away this silly term, the cloud. It's nothing more than a fancy marketing term. Ultimately, it has no real meaning. The cloud is nothing more than online services. That's it. Seriously, that's all it is. Or, as many people have somewhat facetiously, semi-facetiously said, the cloud is simply using someone else's computer, which is true. Services that provide data storage, enable you to communicate with others, provide applications, sell you things, or answer your technical questions, all happen in the cloud. And that's nothing new. Most people have been using online services long before anyone thought to slap the name cloud on them. Do you have an online email account like Outlook.com or Gmail? You're keeping your email in the cloud. Do you use any kind of email? Email messages get from point A to point B through the cloud. Do you upload pictures to a photo sharing site like Flickr, Google Photos, or others? You're storing your photos in the cloud. Do you use any social media? Yep, social media lives in the cloud. Do you use an online backup services? Well, guess what? You've been backing up to the cloud. I really want to drive home this point that this thing people are calling the cloud is nothing new. You've been using it already, probably for years, before that silly name was attached to it. So let's drop the name and all the baggage that comes with it and call it what it really is: online services. Okay, but is the cloud dangerous? All right, to put it in the terms I just suggested, are online services dangerous? Well, no more so than they've ever been. In fact, I will claim that the average online service has become safer as service providers have learned from mistakes and implemented industry best practices. If anything has changed at all, it's the breadth of available online services and the number of people using them. The fact is that any tool, when misused, can be dangerous. Placing sensitive information in your online email account is dangerous if you don't secure that account properly. That's been true all along. It's not that online email accounts are dangerous. The danger arises from using them improperly. Same is true for any online services, be it those generating the latest buzz or those you've been using for years. Now, at this point, many folks point out that security breaches are often the provider's fault or at least related to something on their end. Many are. It's true. But you know what? That's not new either. As long as there have been service providers, there have been mistakes, breaches, and policy screw-ups at those service providers. Now, I'm definitely not trying to excuse service providers for making mistakes or screwing up. Every fiber of their corporate being should work to prevent security-related errors and mitigate the impacts when they occur. But the reality we have to accept is that ultimately service providers are staffed by humans, and humans make mistakes. Saying mistakes should never happen is completely unrealistic. And it's extremely poor security planning. Besides, when it comes to security issues, we are most often our own worst enemies. No one can protect you from you. Let's go back to that Matt Honan hack that I was talking about earlier, which is where the cloud is dangerous comment originated. Matt didn't lose his data because of the breaches he experienced. He didn't lose his data because of problems with the online services, though there were definitely issues. He lost his data because he wasn't backed up. Even if he had not been hacked, he was already at high risk of losing everything anyway if he had lost his laptop or experienced a simple hard disk failure. If he had been backing up his data, I'm betting there wouldn't even have been a news story. On top of that, the hack reached as many of his accounts as it did because he had linked all of his accounts together. Matt basically helped the hackers get into the rest of his accounts. No, the lesson here isn't that the online services are dangerous. The lesson here is that we have to assume responsibility for our own safety. And I will say it yet again. This is not new. So, what does that mean? Using online services safely really boils down to nothing more than the guidelines we've all heard before. Back up. If it's in only one place, it's not backed up. Use strong passwords. Set up and keep account recovery information current. Use extra security such as two-factor authentication where it's supported. Encrypt your sensitive data stored online. Understand the security risks of using someone else's computer or someone else using yours. Understand how to use internet connections provided by others securely, especially open Wi-Fi hotspots. Don't link your important accounts together in such a way that breaching one opens the door to all. Use different passwords and perhaps even unique email addresses for each. Keep your software up to date, scan for malware, and all the other actions commonly listed to keep your computer safe on the internet. All, of course, topped off with a healthy dose of common sense. Only the part about possibly using different email addresses for different accounts is relatively new. Everything else should sound super familiar. Now, Matt Honan, the victim of the public hacking, published an update detailing how he's recovered from his hacking. One quote struck me. Quote, "I'm a bigger believer in cloud services than ever before." This is the gentleman whose experience started this discussion. While others are quick to blame the cloud, after all is said and done, he's not one of them. And neither am I. You can find his full story at an online article entitled Matt Honan, How I Resurrected My Digital Life After an Epic Hacking. I'll have the link down below. You can use the cloud, online services, safely. There's no such thing as perfect security, and that's true whether you keep your information securely locked away in your computer, in your bedroom, or if you store it in the cloud. There's always something that can go wrong. Used properly, online services can add security by providing things like additional backups, throwaway email accounts, data replication, and more. You do have to assume responsibility for your own security. That includes taking reasonable precautions to prevent problems and additional steps to minimize the impact should something happen. Yes, you can avoid online services altogether. Remember, that means walking away from email also. But you'd miss out on so many of the opportunities the internet has to offer. Rather than asking, is the cloud dangerous? Learn to use it safely. I believe that in the long run, you'll be much better off for it. I know I am. For updates, for comments, for links related to this topic and more, visit askleo.com/5701. I'm Leo Notenboom, and this is askleo.com. Thanks for watching.